Hi, and welcome, folks. You're listening to the Single Marriage Show here, and it's Let's Get Married with Dr. Bryn Kilchrist, who is my co-host. And we have today, want to introduce yourself, Bethany?
Mm-hmm.
Bethany and...
My name is Elijah.
Elijah. And Bethany, where are you from?
I'm from Centerville, Utah.
Oh, Centerville. Okay, so you're from Utah.
Yep.
And Elijah, where are you from?
I'm from Farmington, Utah.
Farmington, Utah. Okay.
Exciting.
Yeah. So you guys are both from Utah. And
I'm from Canada,
that's right. Dr. Gilchrist, where are you from?
but born in Oregon.
Okay, yeah. So, in this show, we want to go ahead and
Just thought you'd like to know that.
Yeah, okay. And this show is mainly for people who want to get married or wanting to, or actually on the verge of getting married. Tips we want to hear from you. Join us in the chat line at here on the singlemarriage.utah Valley Live. And again, we want you to chime in. We want you to pepper us with questions because we want to hear the younger crowd's perspective on marriage and what you might be expecting. Or, I don't know, maybe Dr. Gilchrist has some tips for us, yes? And we'll see how this goes. So first of all, why do people get married? Bethany.
Well, hopefully because they're in love.
Okay, first, yeah.
There you go. When I was a freshman, I decided I would just get married in name for Pell Grants. But I don't think that's the right reason to get married.
That might not be.
Probably not.
That was the advice I gave my kids. Just get yourself off my dependency as quickly as you can. Then you can go to school.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. And now you're at BYU?
That's right.
And what are you majoring in?
Political science.
Oh, political science. Good major. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how long have you been in the program?
I just finished my third year. I actually started at Utah State and got my associates there, and then came down here and just getting a different perspective. It's been really good.
And how's the difference? Is it different between the difference between Utah State and then also between BYU?
Well, I think conveniently enough for our subject today, I would say the main difference is social interaction there.
Yeah, no, tell us about the social interaction at U of U versus, say, BYU dating. What happens? Okay.
Sure. Well, I think Elijah and I have actually talked about this quite a bit. I think it's a lot more just spontaneous and fun at Utah State.
Okay.
I think it's a lot more of a party atmosphere and
when you say party, you talk about
things.
Drinking and carrying on, or just more fun party?
Both.
Okay.
Both, I would say.
So yeah, because I think University of Utah, right, Dr. Gilchrist? I mean, University of Utah is a little more, not wild, but just they're more liberal.
My whole experience of Utah life is Spanish Fork and BYU.
So you're the wrong person to ask.
I have a very warped view of Utah.
Okay. Yes.
Mostly I see BYU, and that's my interpretation.
You see blue, and that's it. So then there is
that means I don't get out much.
Yes, it does. They keep you confined here. So then there is a difference.
Yes. So Utah State socializing was a lot of just big group activities or hangouts and lots of networking, people coming to know each other. There's dating, and if there is, then like even if it does or doesn't work out, I feel like everyone is able to stay friends. Whereas at BYU, my experience has been socializing is just dating. And it's
really?
Yeah. And it's asking
so just strictly
people out.
dating.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, I mean, obviously there's exceptions, and this is just my experience, but it doesn't feel like there are lots of big friendly group environments. It's one-on-one dating, and you're dating a checklist.
Oh, really? Okay. A checklist.
So does it come down to like even the first date is like you're already auditioning for a marriage?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Absolutely.
Now,
Do you find that too? Do you audition girls for marriage, or
Yeah,
or they're auditioning you?
Elijah's an
No.
exception.
No, you're an exception. Do you find that there's a difference between guys and girls at BYU? Is one or the other more auditioning the other, or is everybody auditioning each other?
What do you think?
I don't know if I've been that observant to be able to say which side is more just focused on it, but I think all around just the total focus on marriage.
Is heavy?
Yeah. I mean,
Do you think
even
it's a cultural thing, though, within the church?
I do.
I think it's largely pushed by that.
Do you
That's why
like-
it's so heavy at BYU.
Yeah. Do you like it, or do you think it's weird?
Yeah, I think it drives me nuts.
Okay. So why does it drive you nuts?
Well, because when I'm looking if I want to date somebody, it's not an issue for me if I want
You
to
want
marry them.
You're not going to
I
get married
wanna-
tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
wanna
you
get
just
to
want to
know
go
the
have
person.
fun and
And I think that's how they're looking at me.
okay.
That I know I'm not ready to be a husband or a father yet. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my life. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know either.
I don't even know what I'm going to do in the day.
I mean, my life, not yours.
Yeah, me neither. I
I'm still
haven't
trying
grown
to
up.
figure it out. So.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Maybe I'm not ready for marriage yet either.
Yeah, it takes
Too
a
late.
while.
So do you when you so for I guess I'm assuming guys ask girls out, but do girls ask guys out at BYU?
No.
Is it still is traditional guys ask girls?
I would say it's very traditional.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so if you're looking to ask a girl out, are you trying to figure out to ask a girl? Do you calculate that in that I'm going to ask a girl out who's not going to think that I'm trying to get married to her? Like, do you have to calculate that into your decision, or do you just ask someone out if you like them and then you have to deal with it?
No, I usually calculate everything in. I'm a pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So
it's
if you know that there's a
nerve-wracking
girl
to
that's
ask
going to be
somebody
clingy and you can see that from the start, and
Let's get married.
she's really cute, but she's going to be clingy. I'm not asking her.
out. Yep. Like if they're already seeing
Oh,
wedding
that's
bells,
funny.
Yeah.
that's super alarming to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even before you ask somebody out, that's part of your trying to figure that person out. And
Yes.
okay.
That's funny because in the chat room, someone says, agreed. Sometimes I wish the pressure wasn't there to get married. And then another one says, I think girls will ask a guy out after they've known them for a while or if they've gone on a couple dates with a guy already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's, if I was single at my age, I'd ask somebody out. I don't know if that's just like an old person's kind of thing, but if
I
you
don't-
see somebody, you should ask them out. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't think it's an inherently bad thing. I don't.
Yeah.
I think it should be an equal effort almost. I don't think it's bad for, maybe it's wrong to say like masculine and feminine places, but it's equal. It doesn't mean like there's any difference in equality. Just that, let's say a guy asks a girl out and then they acquiesce by maybe like sending them, our roommates call it the PDT, the
What's that?
post-date text.
Oh,
like,
okay.
hey, thanks, I had a good time. So that's an affirmation.
So what is it? Okay, so another streamer says, yeah, I usually won't ask a guy out till I've gone out with them before multiple times. So then a
Yeah.
girl will ask a guy out if
Yeah.
she's been out with him before.
If you're already sort of in a relationship,
Right,
Right.
if you're already
right,
friendly enough,
right.
Yeah.
But not
Right.
for the first time. Hey, he looks great. He looks out. I'm
Right.
gonna. Yeah, that's just a
Would
no.
that be
that's a
seen
no-no.
like as an aggressive woman who
Okay.
is?
Oh, no.
I think it would seem that way.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, oh my
No.
gosh, what does she want?
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, we take the pressure off. Eh?
Oh yeah. When somebody asks me out,
Would you like that?
yeah.
Okay, so that's a good question
Change
out
your
to the
pace.
audience, to who's listening. If you're a male, would you like to be asked out? I don't know, Dr. Gilchrist, when you were single, did that ever happen? I mean, before you got married, did a girl ever ask you out? I don't know, we're so old. It's like, what? I don't remember. I can't remember that far.
I didn't live in an environment in which people dated
Okay.
per se,
They just,
so I didn't get asked out.
okay. Oh, that's funny.
The equivalent of being asked out was was lying in your arms, telling you, "Right now, I would do anything for you."
Okay.
And it's like, well, would you like to go out? No, but I'll do anything. Well, I don't have anything to do with you then.
That's funny. So it was different back then, obviously.
Yeah, it was
That's right.
different. Or I knew different people.
Yeah.
They weren't. It wasn't a BYU crowd. But it was honestly though. It was more open. Girls were more. Young women were more aggressive.
Were they more aggressive?
Yeah, and
Was that
they
more
were-
of like the after, like the, was it late 60s, 70s, more of the women?
Yeah, it's those
kind of
baby
thing?
boomers that we have to kill.
Right.
It's their
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's like every day is Sadie Hawkins Day. You know,
Yes, Sadie Hawkins Day.
you only got asked out once in a year, and that would be Sadie Hawkins dance.
Yeah.
But it ended up that every day was Sadie Hawkins Day if it wanted to be.
Wow, really?
You know, yeah. But I was in a peculiar. You know, I was going to school with people that were 4 years older than me.
Oh, that's right, because you were advanced.
So,
you were
so I
pushed
wasn't
out,
getting
yeah.
asked out.
Yeah.
I was getting asked out. I was in 11th grade, and I was getting asked out by 8th graders because they were my age.
Right.
And all my classmates are like, "What are you doing hanging out with an 8th grader?" Like, they wouldn't even let me talk to 9th graders. I couldn't talk to anybody my age. So it was really awkward, you know.
That is awkward. Yeah, that's right. Because you were
And-
propelled for. Yeah,
I'm
so that
not
would
going to be
hard.
13 and being asked out by 17-year-olds, you know.
Right. You could, but then that
Hey,
happens
my
to
mom will
son.
drive us.
That happens to my son because he is older. My son, I mean, not older. He's older looking. He's like 6'1", 6'2", and he looks older. Until you start talking to him, and you realize he's younger. But these girls that are older like him, he's like 16. They're like 19.
Ooh.
I know it's kind of creepy. But then again, in a few years,
Well, that's not creepy yet. That's not exactly a cougar.
yeah. But
19.
But fast forward, it's not going to be such an issue. 3 years difference,
Yeah.
like 10 years difference. In the future,
Yeah.
for right now.
Yeah.
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 So then you would like it now and then to get asked out.
Be a nice change of pace. I mean, there's a lot of pressure that goes into asking a girl out, and then if you don't get the PDP,
What is it? The
Whatever
post-date
it is.
text. Okay.
Look
Yeah.
for- all
And that's
those little
standard. That's
signs.
par for the course.
It's almost
One
a
of those.
calculated part of a relationship.
So if you-
They've made it a formula.
So if you don't get the text, it means it was a bad date.
You can maybe assume that, not safely, but
Really interesting. Interesting.
Well, wouldn't you though fear that if a young woman came up and asked you out, that she already had all kinds of calculations on her mind,
that's true.
but would you just go out for the fun of it to see what was going on, and
I think it'd be so shocked that I got asked out.
you'd have to go out? Yeah,
I'd go.
yeah.
Out of that's another thing too. Should we go out if someone asks you out or someone asks you out just out of being nice, just to be nice?
that's a good question.
That depends on doesn't that
Yeah.
depend on who it is and what they look like and how
No,
they
I
come
agree.
across? And
Okay, so then it
you
has
have to find tactful ways to get out of it.
Right.
Oh, yep.
So then it does. So
That
then
happens to girls a lot more than guys, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would imagine so. Yeah. So if someone does ask you out and you don't want to go out with them, but do you feel compelled to say yes just to be nice?
Yes,
Okay.
I definitely feel compelled, and I feel like my
Oh,
usefulness of like
you just gave it up.
So they're going to be calling Bethany for a date. You're not
Yeah,
gonna
with
get turned
1,000
down.
dates coming.
well, like I have a lot of brothers, and so
That's
and
funny.
lots
Oh,
of
so you
good
got
friends.
protection.
No, not like that. Like I recognize how hard it is to ask someone
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
and I think like it's a great thing to do, and it's a good thing to get out there and date and to get to know lots of people. I think especially in colleges when you have to find out how to get to know people, and just because like you're asked out, it doesn't mean that you're interested in them, but maybe you're interested in being interested.
Yeah.
Like, right, they're just on the horizon. But, so initially, like, when I was younger, I would say, yeah, like, date everyone that asks you out. Like, reward that and, like, get to know people. And I feel like maybe it's changed a little bit and maybe it's too rash.
Why?
But if like you see a person, or maybe not just see them, like if you almost kind of know a person and they ask you out and you just don't see it going anywhere, I don't know if it's nicer to go or to not go,
Or
where
to
you're
nip
going to
it.
have to say no later. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what someone
Yeah.
else says. Says, I think a lot of people deserve a chance, but after the first date, if it's not working, forget being nice. It's just mean to string them along.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a hard balance to strike. It really
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
expensive.
And expensive.
is. And they're
that's true.
spending money. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, there's so many ideas that I think the young kids have about getting married. I mean, I think, and especially within our culture, we're talking specifically to the LDS culture,
Okay.
and the pressure to get married because you can't have sex before you I mean, you can't have. I mean, you're not supposed to. People do, but in our culture, if you want to stay within the bounds of our religion, then you watch yourself, but you can't do anything unless you get married, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the pressure to get married for that reason is also there. So I mean, I don't know. How do you? I mean, I know this is probably an awkward question, but it's a question that should be asked and one that should be talked about. What do you think, Dr. Gilchrist? Because it's true, the pressure of staying within the religion,
Yeah.
and then as you get older,
I'm so naive that I would just get myself into all kinds of trouble if I was a young person now, because I'm the kind of person that if anybody asks anything, I'll just say, yeah, sure.
sure, I'll comply.
I'm so naive that I don't know what's coming. I don't be caught in all
used to be
kinds of
like
bad
that.
cases. But it's true that like at other colleges,
It's a sleep fest, isn't it?
I wasn't going to go that far.
It really is. I mean, U of U.
It's fair game.
Is that right? I mean, probably U of U, maybe not as much because you still have a Mormon
Right.
culture kind
Right.
of influence.
But it's a
heck,
mix.
where I
It's a
come
mix
from-
at Utah State, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it would factor in how you get to know someone,
Right.
But-
Without.
So you probably would you think that maybe at BYU dating you get to know someone better, but there might be pressure to marriage sooner because
Physical demands, perhaps.
yeah. Does that enter into it? You think differently than if you're at other colleges where people would just
Just do it anyway.
yeah. So if people were just sleeping around, then there's no pressure to get married because
Right.
What's the use?
you're just checking everybody out. But
Right.
if you can't do that till you're married, then there's guys want to get married now.
Oh, I think
it's
it definitely
part
helps.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times they reach a point in the relationship where they're very physical. A lot of people haven't really dated before, and so it's all new terrain to them. And they get to a point where marriage is like inevitable for those reasons.
Yeah.
They have to have that, or they're to the point where if they don't get married, they're going to feel bad because they're so physically close.
Yeah.
Right.
And then one of the comments says, yes, Chico State, yes, I agree. California, it's crazy. But it says, let's be honest. If it was different there, if it was different, there would be a lot of couples living together and not married at BYU.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Is that a problem? Do you fix
But-
it? Do you?
Well, what Elijah just said makes me think then that you might have a lot of people getting married who really aren't ready to get married or don't necessarily want to get married, but feel like they have to or feel like that's what they're supposed to do next, or because you become that intimate. In the dating process, you get to a certain point where it's like, well, I guess we have to get married now. It's like when I came back to church, they asked me, so do you want to take lessons to become an elder? I was like, yeah, okay. It's like, that's what's next,
Yeah.
You want to get ready to go to the temple? Yeah, okay. It's like that's what came
How
next.
compliant.
So you made, yeah. But you made it sound like so there'd be a lot of people that might get married that really may not really want to, or
I mean, that's
Because
one of the reasons they're probably not ready, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of people that get married, especially at BYU, are not ready. Just because whether it's that pressure or whether it's pressure from serving a mission and it's just drilled into you that
Go
as
home
soon
and
as
get
you
married?
get home, you got to get married.
Yeah, I know.
they still do that, eh?
Oh yeah.
Multiplying such shares.
So I want to talk to these mission presidents. I'm
So how long do you guys think? How long do you guys think that you could date someone before it was expected that one of the people in the relationship is expecting marriage? How long does that come quickly, or is that?
I think in this subculture, it really, really does.
Yeah.
I have a roommate who is engaged right now. I think she got engaged like a week and a half ago.
How old is she?
She's my age, so 20. Yep.
20. Okay.
Which is pretty young. I think he's 23, 24. And they dated, I think they've dated for a year now, which is exceptionally long. And really, I think that should be bare minimum standard.
Yes, I think you're right.
But,
Yeah, good for you, Bethany. That's right.
She fell in love super fast, and I think she would have been, or at least wanted to, or would be willing to get married a lot before that. But he wasn't ready, and he took his time, and I think that's so good. Like, take your time, get to know someone, see them in all seasons and all climates, and just
Perfect.
all sorts of places. And,
Right.
And once you get to know someone on that level, then hopefully marriage won't be such a big shock. And for us, like, it'll add the physical aspect, so it is going to be different. But people should take the time to get to know each other, and I think it would help a lot.
Yeah.
So do you think, like you said, that's exceptionally long for BYU, but kind of the minimum it should be, which I would agree.
Yeah.
Do you think what's the kind of framework in which people start thinking about it? Like a guy either starts thinking that he should be getting ready to pop the question, or the girl's waiting. Is it like if you've dated solid for 3 months, or 6 months or 2 weeks or
Yeah, well, there's a comment here, real quick. It says, so many missionaries have one thing in mind when they get home. I'm not too sure if that's true. Another comment is yeah, girls probably wonder if they truly like them or if they were the first girl to come around. Another person says, I love hearing when couples have dated for over a year. You should date for a long time and then be engaged for a short period of time. You
I agree with that. I
That's
do.
yeah. Yeah, one of the
comment.
general authorities said that just recently that once you're
Established.
engaged, then all the time it should take between the engagement and the wedding is the time it takes to plan the wedding and to be courteous to your guests if they have to travel.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, like-
well, that's probably true.
Because
that
when you
makes sense.
say yes, what you're saying is I'm ready now.
Right.
You know, and if you didn't have to invite guests and you didn't have to have a wedding, you should go
could-
the next day to City Hall and get married.
Okay.
Right?
That's pretty abrupt, but you could. That's right.
But that's what they said is that when you say yes, you're not saying yes. I think I'll be ready 6 months or a year from now. You're saying
Right.
yes, I'm ready now.
Right.
And then all you should do is plan it according to what it takes to be courteous to guests
Right.
and to make the plans and So
Right.
don't drag it out. Okay, let's get married and it's going to be a year from July.
Right.
Like,
And then
what's that all
we'll
about?
keep continue.
Right.
What do you guys think about divorce? Because the stats aren't that great for, I think, the first six years. I think we pulled some stats recently. The first 6 years is the majority of people getting divorced within the first 6 years of marriage.
I think,
Shocking or no?
no, that's shocking. I mean, it's normal, right? But it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
I think that's really, really sad.
yeah.
Are those Utah stats? I think, I don't have the paper in front of me, and I knew someone was going to talk to me. I think it is Utah stats
It
within
was.
the
It
church,
was Utah.
right?
It was
Within
Utah
LDS
stats.
community, or
I'm not sure if it was
maybe,
LDS,
maybe
but it
it's
was Utah.
Valley, or maybe Utah County, maybe Utah County.
So what was it again? After 6 years?
Yeah, within 6 years, people are getting divorced. Within 6 years of a marriage.
Okay.
And the majority of those marriages, I think, are 50% childless.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that means people are getting married, and
So they get married quickly and divorce quickly.
that was the statistics for Utah 2008. Those stats, because it takes a while for statistics to come out, because you still have to
Yeah.
see the pattern.
Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
So
yeah,
people
got it.
find out, they get married, they find out pretty quickly,
They
this,
wait-
this
yeah.
isn't the guy for me or the girl for me, and thank goodness they don't have kids.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the fact that they don't have kids that makes it easier for them to divorce. But
Right.
maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But
And if you both of you got married, and it wasn't what you hoped, and you did not have children, would you hesitate to get divorced?
I would be very hesitant.
Okay, now tell me why.
Well,
Or tell us why.
I guess in addition to the cultural ramifications, it's a painful thing to do anyway. And I guess I haven't been raised with the idea that you can't repair something like that, like a relationship. I guess I owe that to my parents. They're pretty good folks.
They've been
They
married a while, your parents? How long?
Stick together.
forever.
35 years.
That's the one.
They are married forever. But they've been married a while.
More than 30 years.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good long time. And they have a good marriage?
hmm
They're probably watching, so you better watch what you say. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. Here's another another.
What about you, Bethany? Would you
Yeah.
would you hesitate?
That's why I think there's such value into dating for a long time. If you get to know the person honestly and you're asking blunt questions, like you shouldn't afraid to be totally yourselves, whether that's a good side of you or a bad side of you or you just on a blah day, you should know who you're marrying.
Yeah.
And you should be setting goals and like know what each other wants. So I think like one of the biggest fears going into marriage is, are they going to change once they're married? So
Yeah.
hopefully you know that, but
Because
sometimes that
we do
happens.
change, right, as we get older. And
Right.
they're-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're changing together in good directions, but
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
either way, I would say I would hesitate to get divorced
get
anyway
divorced.
too, especially if there are kids involved.
Yeah, and it says
Yeah.
here, someone else mentioned that marriage isn't all rainbows and unicorns, and that's why we are trying to bring these things up. It's hard.
You thought it was, eh?
Our first couple of months, the honeymoon
We
phase
just rocked
might
their
be. Yeah. These newlywed married couples shouldn't give
You
it.
should have
just give
stayed at
up.
Utah State.
It says you have to work at it, which is true. However, what if you are married to somebody who becomes abusive, male or female? Then what do you do?
What kind of abuse, though?
Oh, It could be
Right.
so it's verbal abuse.
Yeah.
There's because you're going to see that because we have you talk to marriage therapists. The types of abuse
Right.
are verbal, emotional, physical. Those are pretty much
Yeah.
the three.
Right.
Mhm.
So
what's
and I think
top-
also
what's top-
like neglect or something.
Yeah,
and that's a form
abandonment.
of abuse. Sure,
Mhm. It's a
sure.
form of emotional abuse.
Okay.
Would you treat them differently,
Okay.
or would you treat them all as abuse and treat them all as equally?
Yeah, would the result for any of them be the same?
That's a tough question.
Because those are the things you have to think about before you get married. Because you might be thinking you're marrying somebody who's perfect, and maybe he's a pornographer or something. You didn't know it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah.
These are probably.
Well, see, there's
questions.
things that can be dealt with and things that you don't want to deal with. So, like,
Right.
I don't
Things
know. I'm
are acceptable.
jumping
No,
into
no,
your
no, no.
answer, but like for my daughter,
Mhm.
if her husband started beating her,
Yeah.
I'd start
I
beating
do
him.
think right, exactly.
And I tell her to
Dad was
get the
like-
heck out now. Like, don't wait for the second
Right,
beating.
right.
You don't take the I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you take the I'm sorry, it's going to happen
It's gonna happen again.
You've shown that you've accepted it and you're
Right.
going to become a doormat. You're going to have a life of abuse. you
Right.
know?
Right. Right.
So physical abuse is one thing. It seems to me that
Right.
that's just a non-issue for me. And I don't know if it would be for all young women.
Yeah.
you know.
Some women do. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who her husband just died, but her first marriage, she was married for 28 years, and her husband beat her almost every day.
No,
And the church told her, you need to work with him. You need to work with him.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was back in Wyoming, so I don't know. Sorry.
But the church has changed how
Yeah,
they
and I'm
advise
not blaming
people
that on the
to.
church. That's what I'm
Well, no,
saying.
but they used to give bad
want-
advice.
Right.
Bishops used to give bad
I
advice.
think you're right. Yeah.
And they've changed things, and they're more sensitive to these kinds of issues now. But there was a time when women didn't have much choice, especially if you
Mm-hmm.
had kids and things.
Right.
That I mean, when women couldn't have their own credit cards,
Right.
and you couldn't do business.
Right,
I mean, it was
right.
pretty hard not to be married. And that's
Right.
not that long ago. That's only into the 70s that women started to be actually people.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of had to stick with your man, or you were stuck. If you got a divorce,
Right, right.
you were in trouble.
You're in
Just,
trouble financially. Yeah.
Yeah.
As well.
So a lot of people took the
Stayed.
beatings because they didn't have any alternative.
Right. That's why it's important for women when you come to it.
But that's not the case now, right?
Right. No. No.
So there's no reason for anybody to stay in a
To stay
marriage
in a
now,
marriage now
where
and
they're
get
where
abused.
they're being physically abused.
Right. What about verbal abuse?
And what do you think about?
Well, I agree that like there's no doubt down the line that is wrong. Like you respect each other no matter what. If they're deserving of that respect, like physical abuse, there's no reason a woman should feel inferior because
Or
maybe
afraid
she's
of
not
in her own home. Huh?
right.
Yeah, that's
right.
ugly.
It's terrible. It is. It's just ugly, ugly, ugly. I hate to say it depends on the situation because you want to see it black and white, saying that's wrong and that's right. But if it's emotional or physical abuse, is it intentional? Is it because of something he or she needs to work out? Is it something that like you could talk about and work through together, or is it because of like animosity towards the other spouse?
So are these things that you would consider going to counseling for and working out, or would you just suffer it until you couldn't take it anymore? Or like if your wife is just always nagging on you to the point where it's just unbearable, right? Would you just wait until it was unbearable and then just walk? Or would you think, you know what, we need to get some help here?
I'd probably try to get some help, get it
Would
worked
you?
out.
Or would you try to fix it yourself?
No,
So therapy.
I'm not very good at fixing people.
And that's it. That's it. That's a good
professionals
point.
for that.
Yeah.
A lot of guys try to fix it themselves. Like
Right.
guys don't want to stop and ask for directions. I mean, that's
Right,
a
right, right.
stereotypical
That's-
cliche
right.
thing, right? But guys don't like going to counseling. They usually get dragged into counseling, and it's usually the woman that initiates counseling and that kind of help.
So I guess there's
That's
another.
why I asked you instead of Bethany. 'Cause I'm assuming
Yeah.
you would probably want to work with it, and you'd probably start with a bishop, and then the bishop would probably advise some counseling and probably have a word with the,
With both of you and you separate.
at least in the LDS culture,
Yeah,
a
in the
bishop would
LDS
step in and
culture.
say, look, you're a priesthood holder and you can't act this way.
Right.
And if you act this way, you're not going to be worthy to
Correct.
exercise your
Okay.
priesthood. You're not going to be worthy to go to the temple. They oftentimes don't go quite that far, but they should.
Right. Right. Another question here is what is verbal abuse? Hard to find a universally accepted definition, such
That's
as
true.
"she made me feel bad" isn't an indictment of verbal or emotional abuse. Okay, so we need a commercial break. Alrighty, folks. So you're listening to the Single Marriage Let's Get Married show with co-hosting with Dr. Brent Gilchrist, and we have in studio today Bethany and Elijah. Yeah, Elijah, right? Yeah. And two co-eds here at BYU, for which we're very grateful for that they've come to join us and give us their take on getting married. So not to each other, just getting married. And again, we're going to take a real quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
When you think about an auto body shop, what services come to mind? Collision repair? Ding removal? Painting and detailing? How about headlight repair, power window repair, and carpet cleaning? Casey's Bend and Mend in Provo will take those unwanted bends out of your vehicle and mend it back to great shape. For 15 years, Casey's Bend and Mend owner, Kevin Stubbs, has been using his artistry to get you back on the road looking good. Personable and approachable, Kevin will provide a free estimate and offers discounts to students and self-pay clients, in addition to working with all the insurance companies. Trust your vehicle to a craftsman, someone who will give you personal service and care. Casey's Bend and Mend, located at 85 East, 600 South in Provo. Give Kevin at Casey's Bend and Mend a call at 801-374-0930. You bend 'em, we mend 'em.
Come celebrate spring at Hee Haw Farms in an authentic farm environment. There's not a better way to cure the spring fever than enjoying spring with baby animals. The most popular hotspot on the farm during this event is the petting farmyard with baby farm animals. What a delight they bring to the young and old at heart. Our petting farmyard includes baby pigs, cows, goats, and chicks, to name a few. Mama Pig has just had a litter, and they are sure to make you smile as they snuggle up next to her and fight for their place to eat. Spring Fling at Hee Haw Farms lasts until Saturday, May 12, 2012. It's open from 12 to 6 p.m. daily, Monday through Saturday, and closed Sunday. It's $5 per person, 3 years and older, and 2 and under is free, and includes all activities. Hay rides, animal train rides, a giant slide, and corn boxes and swings are a few of the activities you can enjoy at the farm. Be sure to plant your free sunflower to take home as well. Educational field trips are available for any preschool, charter school, or public school. Hee Haw Farms is located at 150 South, 2000 West in Pleasant Grove. We can't wait to see you.
Hi, I'm Roger Strong. I'm here to tell you about Tidbits of Utah County. No death, divorce, devastation, or destruction, just good news for good people. You'll find us everywhere in Utah Valley, in doctors' offices, restaurants, mechanic shops, anywhere that people wait. We have over 35 features of fun, family-friendly entertainment. To find a paper or to advertise, call Roger at 801-616-6288. Again, that's Roger at 801-616-6288. We're Tidbits of Utah County, the happy paper for Happy Valley.
Welcome back to the Single Marriage Show. You're watching Single Marriage on singlemarriage.utahvalleylive.com. And we're here today talking about preparing for marriage. So we've been talking a little bit about dating and getting to the point, what the expectations are, getting to the point where we ask about, where we pop the question. And we've talked about some issues and problems there, and some we've sort of jumped ahead a bit. But now we want to talk about, so we've popped the question and you've said yes. So now what? What do we have to take care of? What do we have to think about? What kinds of things do we forget, or what have we seen others? You know, we've watched. I was just saying, I didn't have an engagement. My engagement lasted for a week, and that was only because my mother made me wait to have an actual wedding instead of going to City Hall. But you guys have not been through an engagement, I'm assuming.
Right.
But you've watched others, and so you probably have seen mistakes made or things that you might do differently. Or so, what would be the first? You know, so if Bethany, if someone pops the question, and you said yes, what's other than kiss him? What's the first thing that you're going to start thinking about? What are the kinds of things that you're going to want to do right away?
Well, I would definitely let everyone who's been involved with us, or just our friends and family, know I'd probably just
Facebook.
Yeah, the whole world knows on
hopefully
Facebook.
call my
yeah.
mom and dad before Facebook.
Yeah, you don't want them to find out on Facebook.
Right.
What? My daughter's getting married?
That would not end well.
No.
Yeah. So just informing people. So the social aspect of it would be important.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal.
So you go straight from me and my guy to everybody's got to know now.
Well, I think I would take time too. Like if I just said yes to him, I wouldn't feel pressure to just run and tell everyone. I don't know,
Yeah.
savor the moment, hopefully.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But so that's really significant that the social aspect of it all would come in so quickly, right?
Yeah.
And that's great because weddings and marriages are
Or
a
as a social event, yeah.
Yeah.
A gathering and celebration
Yeah.
of two people becoming one.
Would you be more secretive and take your time letting people know, Elijah? How would you approach it? The girl says yes, and you kiss and you finish your evening, whatever, and you go home, and then what do you do? What do you start thinking about? How much is this going
I
to
don't know if
cost
I
me?
would. Yeah. That
Do you?
would come to play sooner or later, but
That's funny.
I'd probably be pretty blown for the first while. She
Yeah.
said yes.
So you just be
Weird.
celebrating, letting people know.
I'd let people know. Probably call
Yeah.
all the fam, call people I'm close to. But most people, if you're going to get engaged at that point, I think there's got to be a lot of build up already. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a surprise to people.
Right.
Yeah.
So
The parents would have met her, and
hopefully. Absolutely.
Surprise.
it won't be. I'm bringing somebody home,
Rico had brought home for
and she's
dinner.
related to you, by the way, now because we're married. Once you get over that, the intimate aspect and the social aspect of it, would you get practical right away, or would you sort of be walking around for a while in dreamland, just sort of savoring it?
It's natural for me to go right into the practical.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have all my ducks in a row, then I'm worried about my missing duck.
So you'd want to start planning right away.
Yeah.
When are we doing this? How are we doing this? Yeah.
Or would you leave it to the
What
girl?
about you, Bethany?
I think it'd be hard not to think about it all the time.
Especially for girls.
Yeah,
I think that's just part of us.
Just start getting things done. I think it would be more stressful to have it on my mind and not do something about it rather than just staying off or something. It's like knowing that a paper's due, it's easier to just start sitting down and writing it and researching it rather than knowing that you have a paper due.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
funny.
So, do you think it would, if you got engaged in the middle of a semester, would that ruin the semester for you because you couldn't keep your mind on your schoolwork?
I actually had a professor tell me that the semester you're engaged, you're good to get all C's. I don't know if I agree with that. That was his opinion.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a comment here. It says, I think that it shouldn't be, first of all, it says, ideally, should there be any surprises in a good relationship when the question is popped? That's one comment. Another one is, I think that it shouldn't be a complete shocker when he asks the question, but how and exactly when he asks can be.
Yeah, there could be some surprises there.
Yeah,
Sure.
there could be
Yeah.
some surprises. there.
Sure.
Some fun things. That's kind of funny.
It seems to me that I don't know if it's Mormons or if it's Utah, but that there seems to be innovative, fun kinds of ways to do this around Utah.
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
just going to like how guys ask girls to dances and to
dances.
proms. And I've never seen that before. Like
Yeah.
all the lengths
That-
people go to make
Yeah,
it
they
interesting.
make it an
and-
event in
yeah.
itself. The
But
event is an
if
event.
somebody did that, Bethany, if a guy did that and made some big arrangement to pop the question, would you like that, or would that feel weird and you would want it to be more an intimate, serious kind of thing?
Oh, I've already decided. If he asks me in public, I'm saying no. Like, if it was at a basketball game or, I don't know, just somewhere in the middle of a lot of people, I would hate that.
Yeah.
Like, this is not...
Or even do it publicly, like people, on a big old blimp or something.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
that would be terrible.
Or
I would
like a
hate that.
football game.
I would
Yeah, that'd be
hate that. Like,
Will you
this
marry
this
me,
is
Bethany?
between you
Yeah.
and me.
What if it's a diamond ring and a piece of cake and you bite into it?
Yeah, and you'll lose your front tooth and need a.
That would also not be ideal.
Yeah. So you prefer a traditional kind of private, intimate?
I guess so.
Proposal?
Yeah, if that's traditional, I would most definitely just prefer him and I.
Yeah.
Someone's saying, "What's wrong with being asked in public?" And then another one: if it's a complete surprise, I don't think the couple was communicating effectively.
That's a good point.
So after you deal with this kind of initial
Shock.
or enjoyment,
enjoyment.
Well, before I go there, I was thinking maybe it would be a good thing for students to know that a good time to ask a girl.
Is not doing finals.
Well, yeah, would be right after finals.
Right. There's timing on
so
this.
especially there's a bigger break between fall semester and winter semester.
Right.
But then if you want a spring wedding, then you've got a long engagement.
Yeah.
So, but asking someone in the middle of a semester, or you could really mess up somebody's
World
yeah,
and GPA.
yeah. Well, that's a consideration, right? Because you might have an A student plugging away there and then lose scholarships because
Right. I know,
they just went off the wall.
Yeah, and then you're going
That's
to be
true.
in a marriage where your bride's expensive because now you have to pay for the education. You're not gonna
Pell
want
Grants,
that.
guys. Pell Grants.
Yeah.
So here's another one. It says, no blimps, bummer. Is there too much emphasis on the proposal, the engagement, the reception, and not enough emphasis on prepping for the lasting temple marriage? And then someone else says, eternity, schmernity. The term was lasting. And then
There is
someone else said
diversity in
different.
Utah County. I didn't know that.
Same difference. How funny, lasting.
Do you think? I'm going to give you a stereotypical question. Do you think
Sure.
guys worry about the money and girls worry about the details of the
Of the event.
marriage and the event and everything?
The reception.
I think the girls have already planned them out. A lot of the times they're already
They know what they want.
They have
Yeah.
the temple picked or the location picked.
And does that bug you that you don't
Yeah.
get a say?
No, that's great.
You just let them go.
So
Less for
a
me to
guy would
worry
let them
about.
let it
Yeah.
go. You
Yeah.
think? You think that with the details, a guy would be okay? What if you're?
Well, Elijah's okay. He says
Yeah.
the less for him to do, the better. What if they planned out like a $20,000 wedding?
Well, that's different. That's
As long
my
as,
arena.
as long as her dad's paying, that's okay.
Yes, that'd be nice too.
Yeah, because some guys might want to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if they do,
some-
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Good practice considering someone else's opinion. Maybe.
Hopefully, if you've had that year of dating, you're already where you know how to work
Right.
together on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's a comment. It says lots of girls have their entire wedding planned out while they're missionaries out in the field. How do you guys feel about that? That's a question. Someone else says headed for divorce.
Oh. I actually
If the
knew.
girl has it all planned out.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I actually knew someone in my home ward who, let's see, he served a mission, and they had already dated before. They really liked each other, and then she wanted to serve a mission, and he waited for her. And her family had the announcements out before she was home.
Were they engaged?
I guess so, because they were out.
And they didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
The family said yes.
right,
It's
right.
probably it's a good thing the family gets involved. But I
And
don't
did they
know.
actually get married? Or
They did.
Okay.
Yep, they have a
they
little
still
boy
married?
now. Mhm.
Okay.
Has it been 6 years yet, or are we waiting to see if they're going to make it
Let's
through
see.
that?
I think it's been probably 4.
Okay,
So they're still in the
I
6 year
see.
the
category.
verdict's still out there. We'll see. It says, what? How did they get engagement pics sent out? Actually,
Oh,
that
that's
scenario is
true.
okay in my mind, someone else says. Well,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the couple.
Yeah.
With your question, oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
With your question earlier, I personally am really financially aware, and I would definitely not want to go over budget or, I don't know, just go crazy because obviously you have to live after your wedding.
Yeah.
I hate like typical gender stereotypes, but I think it would probably play out to be realistic to say that maybe the guy's thinking more money and the girl's thinking, oh, this is my special wedding day, and maybe
Yeah.
not looking at the price tags
Let's break
enough.
the bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not
Right.
practical.
Is it from what you've seen around you with friends and things, is it still the traditional categories where the bride's folks pay for the wedding and the guy takes care of the honeymoon, or is it more everybody has to
Pitch
chip
in or,
and-
yeah, that's a good question.
do you guys have experience with that? You
It
know?
varies. I think sometimes it goes traditionally. Other times it's anybody's game.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Yeah.
one side has a lot of money
Yeah.
that's
and they just
true.
kind of take care of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
I have a few siblings that are married, and so two of them both married people from Utah, and those weddings were really traditional. Like the groom's family pays for the breakfast or the luncheon or whatever, and the bride's family pays for the reception, and just down the line traditional. And then I had a sibling who got married to someone from out of state, and it was like, okay, you cover the reception here, we'll cover the reception here. You just kind of have to fill it out depending on the family.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can end up with this. It's this Mormon thing where you end up with two receptions. Or,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get married in a temple here, and then you go back to the one of the
Wherever-
person's hometown and have another reception. And
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Yep.
Because most likely you're not
Toward
going to
you.
marry somebody that's within from your same town.
well,
Or
it's
same-
it's
it's two different
big
locations.
possibility if you're
Yeah.
dealing with
Yeah.
college students here, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Not even just BYU, but any college
Right.
students.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you're right. Yeah.
but especially BYU.
Yeah.
When does money and budget and living arrangements after the wedding come into things? Do you think? Does somebody think about that as an afterthought?
I hope not.
Like I can see people planning out this whole thing and then forgetting about the
yeah,
fact
oh,
that
yeah.
we're leaving
first
home and we're moving together somewhere and we don't have an apartment, and like I can see people
Forgetting.
on their honeymoon making phone calls trying to find an apartment.
Oh boy.
Well,
That's poor preparation.
I would overlook that. I have to tell you, I'd be so freaked out that I'm getting married.
Yeah.
If I was doing it in a traditional way, like if I was getting married and going off on a honeymoon and everything, I'm so impractical. I wouldn't even think about it. Like we'd be living in my car when we got home because I think,
Nice. Joanne would be thrilled. Yeah.
she's a trooper. She'd do it.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're in love, you do it. You do it for your man. You know the kind in a
But
sense.
it's not the ideal thing.
Yeah, it's not the ideal thing.
But do you think people forget about that sometimes till the last minute, or have you seen
No,
that?
I've never.
No.
That would be pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
She
if I've
wants to
seen
know
that
where
either.
And he wants to know where he's going to live.
See, Mormons are so
Yeah, they're organized.
together.
I agree. Yeah.
I
Very
think it
organized.
really is part of the cultural context because you're so goal oriented in planning, and we're going to budget together and we're going to make goals together, and it's going to be so cute. We're going to do everything
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
So I think that's part of it, that everything's planned ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good to know.
It's important to know. Yeah.
It's sure not the way my well, not my generation, but my friends in my generation sure weren't like that. It was like that was the last thing we would have thought of. We're going to go
That's
crash at
true.
so-and-so's house till we find a place.
Oh, freeloading. Oh, that is funny.
Well, I was living in a sleeping bag on the cement floor of my parents' basement when I met my wife, so
So,
sleeping beside my motorcycle.
oh,
So
gosh,
that tells you a little bit about
of what you were doing.
what I was
you know.
doing for marriage.
Oh, that's funny. Did Joanne know that?
Yeah.
She did. She was
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, see, then Joanne sounds like a really easygoing
And
girl,
then-
and that's important.
My first day out on the motorbike. So here she is dating me. Well, sort of. And hanging out with me. And I guess you say we were dating. And I finally get my bike on the road because it's spring. So the first time I have her on my bike and I'm showing off, and I get into an accident.
Oh gosh, with her on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's like, how do you like me now?
Oh man, that's funny.
So she saw the worst at the beginning,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
and I saw the best of her at the beginning. So,
Yeah, and it's
so
important.
it worked
too.
for me.
Yeah,
I hope it worked for her.
But you know, because I hear you talk about you and Joanne a lot, and it's a nice marriage. It's a give and take. It's she's easygoing. You want to look for those qualities in a person. You don't want anybody who freaks out. I don't know. I mean, because then it's going to put a strain there. So Joanne seems like, and I'm pretty flexible like that too. It's like, okay, let's just you roll with the punches. You know?
Sure.
So you have to be pretty flexible.
Would you guys go so far in considering the person you're dating, or in a response to a marriage proposal? Would you go so far as to consider where that person's placement is in a family, like first child, second child, youngest child? Would that even enter into it as you got to know them?
I think you could trace some of their personality to it, but I don't think it's a deal breaker by any means.
It's not, eh?
No.
Yeah, I would definitely not factor that in.
No.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it might be fun to analyze, like, oh, maybe this is why you feel this way about that, but
Yeah.
not at all. I would not. I think there's so many expectations in a Mormon culture anyway. If you were looking at specifically, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm just saying that because Monica's just talked about myself and Joanna. We're both late late middle of the family.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
And
Yeah, and there's-
we have
there
the
was
we have
some-
we have the characteristics of that. And when I look at the oldest member of a family, there's characteristics that I could see that a young woman would admire, but that scare
Right.
the pants off of me.
Yeah.
and I don't know, an oldest daughter might be okay for me, but I have hard times with second children.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I've
If they're too aloof or what?
no, they're crazy.
Oh, they're crazy.
Sorry if any of you are second.
You're good.
All of the people who know me are now going to hate my guts, but I think almost, if not almost, it's pretty. Well, I was going to say it is everyone, but I'll say almost to save a few. You don't know who you are.
Okay.
Almost every second child that I've seen as an adult is just nuts.
Full of problems?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
And it depends on the nature of the family, and there are exceptions, but seconds always seem to have like
Some problems?
with my kids. My second
Was
it was
difficult?
yeah, and had personalities that are associated with that, and they carry gripes and they carry problems, and now I'm maybe saying too much, but see, I would, knowing what I know now. I never would have thought
see,
that
that's just it. You
as,
have
as a young person. I never would have thought that.
Right.
But knowing what I know now, I would be looking at that. Is she the baby of
Wow.
the family?
Right. I would too.
If she's the baby of the family, she's gonna
Definitely.
expect me to pamper her for her whole life. If she's a second, she might be nuts. And I really want to know her, and I want to see her in her family setting.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
Maybe I
I'm the
should
oldest
look.
in my family of the girls, and my sister's the baby. Totally a nightmare half the time. She's crazy. She's crazy and pampered. And
Yeah.
I'm like workaholic. I have to take care of business.
Yeah.
Have to take care of everybody around me. It's insane.
See, oldest, the firstborn
They have
males
that.
take a lot on their shoulders, and
Like
they
the
feel a
female.
lot of responsibility, and a lot of guilt. And I think it's the same thing with the firstborn female. And so I can see young women seeing qualities in a firstborn male that would be very admirable. Right? They're going
Right.
to take care of business. They're going to be good providers.
Right.
They're going to,
They're gonna have
they
responsibility.
take things seriously. And I would look at a firstborn female and I would say, well, there's some things I like about that, but I wonder if she's
want
going
a
to be like a
sergeant.
control freak. And,
Yeah, sergeant,
like that wouldn't
captain.
necessarily be a deal breaker, but second would.
Wow.
And a baby, I would really have to think about marrying a baby of a family.
Okay, here's some quotes real quick. So comments say, it says, those anxious people, and then it goes back to it, those anxious people just deserve to be single for eternity. That was when we talked about, I forgot what we were talking about. Okay, so someone says, amen. Here's another one. Yeah, don't let love blind you. You should put your head on and realize who they are in all kinds of situations. True. Here's another comment. Just date the perfect people. Don't waste your time with all others. Good luck. Ha ha. Someone says.
I didn't think of that. Date someone perfect.
Someone else says, I would
That's
look.
what I should do.
Someone else says, I would look to the parents of the bride or groom to see what might come.
No, I think that plays in more than anything else, looking
Yeah.
at the parents' marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
will my bride become like my mom-in-law? Is another one. Sometimes that's a good reflection, but not always. Is another one that works to a certain degree, but it's hardly foolproof. Just ask my mother-in-law.
Yeah, that's not 100%, but I was told that young that if I wanted to know what my wife would be like when she was older, look at her mom.
What's that? Say that again. I was reading something.
I was told when I was young, very young.
Yeah, I've been told that too
Before
by
I even
parents.
thought of
Right.
anything like marriage.
Look
or,
at his
you know,
dad. Look at his.
Yeah, if I wanted to know what my wife would be like when she's older, look at her mom.
Yeah,
and it's not foolproof, but
Right,
it
it's-
can, but
Was that
look at
true
her
for
mom,
you?
It would be an indicator.
And someone says, "Hey, I'm second." It says, "Talking through your hat, Dr. Broad brush insanity."
Yeah,
I'm the elder.
it is.
I'm
And
the
that's why I
oldest,
say
not the-
almost, and there are exceptions. But there are books written about this, about
But
characteristics.
But they do concede that birth order is just one of the dozen factors which could be apparent.
Yeah,
So that's
no,
good.
I agree that it's not a firm, fast
Oh, no,
rule.
and we of course.
You know,
but that is
and that's
fine.
why I said if it was a second, I would want to see them in their family situation,
right.
because that would reveal to me how they get along. If the whole rest of their family hates their guts because they're crazy, then I would know.
They're crazy and lazy, and who knows
But if I
what
don't
else?
see them in their family situation, they might look like a perfectly wonderful person.
Right.
But that's part of what Bethany was talking about dating for a year. That's what we talked about
Right,
last
yeah,
week.
yeah.
Is the thing that happens if you date longer is you see them in different situations.
Right.
So it's not just a matter of time. I know people that date long, but they only ever see each other.
Right. They don't say the difference.
Like everybody else is like out of the picture, and it's just
Right.
I'm with you all the time, right?
Yeah.
But what you want to see is the person in different situations. What are they like when there's a crisis? What are they like with their family?
Yeah.
What are they like with your family? What are they like with little kids? What are they like with people who are
pets.
disadvantaged? Yeah.
pets? Are,
Yeah.
are they compassionate? Or they
Yeah,
kick the dog out the door?
That's
Yeah, no,
what happens when you date longer. You see them in more situations, and so then you get a better picture
okay,
of.
sorry. Okay, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. Join us again tomorrow. We'll see you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't see the clock.
And I didn't see an hour.